Om Namah Shivaya Namoham. Namaste. Today we are going to talk about Mantra Japa, Mantra Yoga. Mantra Yoga, which is part of the Yoga Vidya, the Yoga wisdom from the Vedic scriptures of India, is the backbone of Indian scriptures, of Indian spirituality. Mantras are revelations. These are revelations coming from the higher source that came to the masters, to the sages, thousands and thousands of years ago, as a result of their penance, as a result of this deep sadhana. Mantras are in Sanskrit, which is the language of the gods and the goddesses, the divine language. In fact, mantras are not even part of a language. Mantras are vibrations. They are sound energy. And these sounds create vibrations, spandan, which have various impacts on the human mind, on the human body, and most importantly on the human spirit. It helps to connect the mind, body, and spirit, and they also help to connect the human being, the individual jeev, to the higher source, to the consciousness. Any of us who's on any kind of a spiritual path, especially Indian spiritual path, Vedic spiritual path, Vedic wisdom, cannot be untouched by mantras. The most common one and the most used mantra, in fact the origin of all mantras, is of course Om. Om is known as the Mool mantra. Mool as in source, in the sense that all mantras originate from Om, because Om is the source of everything. It is Parabrahma, beyond Brahma itself. That which is beyond, that which cannot be seen, that which cannot be comprehended, that which can only be felt, spandan, the vibrations. And therefore all the mantras originate from this one Mool source mantra, Om. Then there are what are known as Bij mantras, the seed mantras. These seed mantras originate from Om, but each of them in turn has the power, the strength to give rise to any number of mantras. In fact, all mantras in the Vedic wisdom, in the scriptures, have a Bij mantra in it, in some way, shape, or form. Now, Sanskrit is a kind of language which has a unique feature where it does not matter whether you put the verb in front of the noun, or you put the adjective after the noun, or where the conjunction comes in, or where the preposition comes in. It's an intermingling of words, consonants, syllables. The reason being that the grammatical syntax of the language is less important than the vibration that is created by these letters, consonants, in the form of sound, in the form of vibration, that touches the core of the human being. In fact, they touch the chakras. And these mantras help to activate the chakras and to keep them in balance, to keep them alive, so that the entire human purpose of life remains active, alert, and most importantly, connected with the higher source. Now, there's a difference between a mantra and a shlok. Those of us again who are a little bit familiar with Sanskrit language, familiar with Indian scriptures, Vedic knowledge, Vedic wisdom, have undoubtedly come across many shloks. Shloks are basically verses. The main difference is that, as I said in the beginning, mantras are revealed. Mantras were revealed to the masters and the sages by the higher source as a result of their penance and sadhana. Shloks are written by man himself in the form of verses. They are rhythmic. They form a rhyme like poetry. And shloks can be anywhere from 1 line, 2 lines, 4 lines to a complete episode, a complete chapter, a complete book. The Mahabharata, for example, is based on shloks, verses. Embedded in them may be some mantras, but there's a distinction between a mantra and a shlok. A shlok does not necessarily have the same power and the strength as a mantra does, because they serve a different purpose, they originate in different ways. One, the mantra is extremely divine, is extremely pious, is extremely sacred, because it has come from the highest source and is to be revered and worshipped and treated as such. Now, there are 3 ways in which one can chant a mantra. Most of us are most familiar with the first method, which is the most common one, verbalizing the mantra out loud, which is known as the Bekhari method or the Vachika. The Bekhari or the Vachika method is the verbalizing of mantras, saying it loud. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om. This is verbalizing it out loud, chanting it out loud. The most common one, the one method with which most of us start on our spiritual practice is to verbalize it, whichever mantra we start with, whichever mantra we happen to be chanting. The second is what's known as the Upanshu. The Upanshu method of chanting is not chanting it so loud, not chanting it, verbalizing it, but whispering it, using the lip movement so that it is apparent what you are saying, but yet it's not something that is audible to anyone around you necessarily. That's the second method, the Upanshu method. The third and the deepest method of mantra jap, chanting mantras, is the Mansik method. The Mansik method is mental. It is where one does not make an effort, one does not verbalize it, one does not whisper, one does not even move the lips, and yet that chanting is happening inside mentally, deep inside. So again, using the Gayatri mantra, it would be, and in this case it could be with eyes closed or with eyes open, being aware of it, being not aware of it, being conscious, not conscious. The way this happens is, as we go deeper in our spiritual practice, as we rise higher in our sadhana, the mantras keep getting deeper and deeper embedded inside us, in our psyche, in our chakras. Because remember, as I said, mantras are vibrations. These vibrations become part of us, and most importantly, they become part of our shwas, our breath. They resonate with our breath. They become part of our breath. In fact, the moment a child comes into this world and takes the first breath, that is his or her first mantra. Each breath is a mantra. Each breath is Om, inhale, Om, exhale. That is what is connecting us through this Pran Shakti to the higher source. That is the basic mantra, Om, in the form of Shwas, breath. And therefore, any mantra that we chant, especially one that we have adopted, or I should say the mantra has adopted us, becomes part of our breath, becomes part of our psyche. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper, where we don't even realize that we are chanting. As Ramesh Balsekar says, chanting is happening all the time, whether we realize it or we do not realize it, whether we are aware of it or we are not aware of it. And this has been my personal experience, that I'll find I'm driving the car, I'm walking, I'm sitting, I'm doing anything, whatever, day and night, to the point that I might be lying down, sleeping, trying to sleep, and the chanting is happening. It automatically, in a reflex manner, is going on in the background, and sometimes I realize, sometimes I don't, that the chanting is happening. Mantra jap is happening all the time in the background. That is Mansik. And that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. That's the power of the mantra. It is a collection of vibrations, a collection of sounds that has the power, that has the strength and the Shakti to invoke that which connects us to that higher source. It has that inherent strength. People like to use the phrase magical. To me, it is nothing magical. It is something very common, very ordinary, provided one understands the spiritual aspect behind a mantra, as to what it signifies, where it originates from, what it means, what it does, what impact it has on us, what effect it has on us, and so on. Now, there are many mantras, and like I said, they've all been revealed. Now, some mantras have become very common to the extent that they are blaring from loudspeakers, from radios, from television, from all sources on the street, from morning to night, more like a noise rather than something spiritual, something more deep. Krishna in Gita says, I am the Gayatri. Among mantras, I am the Gayatri. He has elevated the Gayatri mantra to that level, highest. Yet today we find that the Gayatri mantra is so abused, is so misused, that it has lost all its potency. It has lost all its Shakti, all its vigor, all its strength, all its power, because people have misused it. People have not bothered to respect it as it was meant to be. But then, the sages and the masters, through their thousands of years of penance and sadhana, were even wiser. As part of the revelation of the mantras, every mantra has something secret buried inside within it, a rahasya, gopaniya, secretive, that is not known to the common people. So Gayatri mantra also has embedded in it, let's call it a sub mantra or a smaller part of the mantra. Again, a combination of sounds, vibration, that has the power of Gayatri, but yet it is not revealed in the same way as people chant the Gayatri mantra. So those who go higher and higher in the spiritual practice, for them the Gayatri mantra loses its relevance, but this Gopaniya mantra, this Rahasyapurna, the secret mantra inside the Gayatri mantra, which is only revealed by a guru or a master to his disciple, his student, or if the disciple is fortunate enough, the sadhak, to have it revealed to him directly from the source, then that revealed secret Gayatri mantra within the Gayatri mantra has that inherent power that the entire Gayatri mantra has. Same thing with Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Same thing with the Maha mantra, any mantra. So for example, the Mahamrityunjaya mantra has a phrase in the beginning and at the end. And if you add that phrase in the beginning and the end, and that phrase is given to you only by someone who trusts you, your guru, your teacher, a master, it's not meant for everyone. If you add that phrase to the beginning and the end of Mahamrityunjaya mantra, that mantra, Mahamrityunjaya mantra, takes on its glory, takes on its potency, which may be lost from the misuse of the mantra by everyone all around. So every mantra has a secret mantra embedded in it. This mantra that is embedded in it is typically made of these bij mantras. What is a bij mantra? As I said in the beginning, there's a mool mantra Om, which is the source of everything. And then from this mool mantra originates various seed mantras or bij mantras, which then give rise to any number of other mantras. The bij mantras, each of which is a single syllable, a single alphabet, a single sound. Ain, Krim, Shrim. These are bij mantras. And when these bij mantras are combined in a certain way, in a certain form, they take on the power of an individual mantra. a simple mantra may be a 3-letter mantra, yet it may be extremely powerful. For those of us who have been fortunate enough to have received a Diksha from our Guru, that Diksha comes in the form of a Guru Mantra. A Guru Mantra is one that connects us through our Guru to that lineage of which the Guru is a part and of which we have now become a part, having been initiated by our Guru through this Diksha, by receiving this Guru Mantra. And that Guru Mantra, which is secretive, is not meant to be disclosed to anyone, typically will consist of a Bij Mantra. And there are so many different forms of this. There are so many different variations of this. It depends upon the lineage, it depends upon the teacher, the Guru, the tradition. It depends upon what the Guru believes that the student needs. It may be customized or tailored to a particular situation. There are mantras for every chakra. There are Bij mantras for every chakra. Each of the 7 chakra has its own Bij mantra. And invoking that chakra requires that sound, that vibration of that Bij mantra to resonate, to be focused on that chakra. That's the power of the Bij mantra in the form of vibration. There are mantras for specific purposes, for prosperity, for health, for well-being, for peace, and so on. There are common mantras, as I said, Gayatri Mantra, Mahamrityunjay Mantra, Maha Mantra. There are in Tantra, in the Tantric wisdom, in the Tantric text, thousands and thousands of mantras. And each of them is so powerful that when we read in the scriptures about astral travel, about divine sight, cosmic knowledge, and various other siddhis and powers, these have been achieved through the power of mantras. By concentrating on the mantra, by chanting the mantras, by doing the mala, going deeper in our sadhana with the help of the mantras, helps us to achieve untold powers for those who believe or those who want to be in that space. The simplest purpose of a mantra is to achieve peace, shanti. In fact, most mantras end with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace, peace, peace. And most mantras also end with Namaha. I salute to thee, I bow down to thee. Thee being that supreme power, that supreme source, the consciousness itself, that is the origin of everything. We bow down to thee, to that power. So we do Naman, Namaha, at the end of each mantra. The power of the mantra is such that it can condense itself to the infinite small, what in Indian scriptures is known as Bindu. In Tantra especially, it's known as the Bindu. The Bindu is the smallest, the minutest, the minuscule, smaller than an atom, smaller than a molecule, smaller than a grain of sand, smaller than anything that you can imagine. It's that tip where even Om gets lost in that Bindu. It is the Bindu on the top of Sri Yantra, Tripura Sundari, where the three powers converge into that bindu, into that one little speck, a mantra can be infinitely small, like that bindu. Or it can be the opposite, infinitely large, expanding, like the entire Brahmand, the entire creation, the entire universe. It can go from that bindu to Brahmand. It can take the person from that bindu to the Brahmand. There remains no distinction between the bindu and the Brahmand. They are one and the same, one getting lost, one getting merged into the other, where that distinction is no longer relevant. That is the power of mantra. That is how it helps us to transcend this physical realm, this physical body, and go higher, go beyond the Sahasra Chakra and connect to that consciousness. That is the power of mantra. And with that in mind, knowing that the masters and the sages of the Vedic ages, they hid a shortened version of every mantra within itself. A sankshept roop, a condensed version of the mantra itself is hidden in every mantra. My favorite example is actually the Durga Saptashati, which is 14 chapters long, an ode to Mother Goddess, a poetry to her powers. The same 14 chapters long Durga Saptashati has been condensed into 2 lines by invoking the 12 major goddesses out of the 108. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadhyaya Namostute. So you see, the masters and the sages did everything necessary to give us all the tools, all the ability to tap into this massive power of mantras. Now, that does not mean that there are shortcuts. The shortened version of Durga Saptashati or any other mantra or scripture is not meant to be a shortcut. Because without having read and understood the entire Durga Saptashati, the 2-line mantra, Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadhyaya Namostute, is meaningless. It's only after having digested the entire Durga Saptashati and understood what it's trying to say, then you can use that mantra, the 2-line mantra, to remember the Mother Goddess, the Devi, who has been glorified in Durga Saptashati in the form of these 2 lines, and they become part of your chanting, as part of your practice. Same with any other shortened mantra in its shortened sankshept form. A mantra is a lay, a wave. It goes, waves, comes down, moves, wave, comes down, goes up, goes down. And the more gentle it is, the softer it is, the deeper it goes. It is not meant to be in a fast, furious, aggressive form. It's meant to be invoked and chanted with love, with devotion, bhakti, shraddha, complete surrender. Only when you have these attributes while chanting will the true powers of the mantra be invoked. The other most important aspect of mantra chanting is ucharan, pronunciation. As I have repeatedly said, Sanskrit is a language of vibration. Vibration coming from sound, sound coming from pronunciation, how you say it, how you pronounce it, how you verbalize it. That creates the sound. It creates the right sound, the right tone, the right tune to bring out that vibration. And in my 40 years of living outside of India, traveling to over 100 countries around the world, doing any number of workshops and meeting with people from different backgrounds, countries, cultures, and so on. It's very interesting. I found that the right pronunciation of Sanskrit in the form of mantras, shlokas, chanting is very unique and special to the Indian psyche, the Indian blood. What I have found is that no matter how spiritual a person may be, but if he or she does not have that Indian psyche, is not of Indian origin, is not of Indian blood, or at least not having been born or brought up in India, there's something missing, there's something lacking. And that reflects in the pronunciation, in the chanting. That right lay just does not happen. The right pronunciation, the ucharan, just does not happen. Because inevitably the Western mind or the non-Indian mind tries to verbalize the Sanskrit words or the Sanskrit sound phonetically in terms of the way it is spelled out, the way it is written. But in Sanskrit, as I said, the writing comes later. The sound, the vibration, the utterance, the pronunciation comes first. That's the way it was revealed. It was revealed in an oral form, and then it was transcribed by the sages in the form of language, in the form of Sanskrit. So if the pronunciation is not correct, then the reading is not going to be correct. And my favorite example, all-time example on this is, of course, yoga, which is so bastardized in the entire world, including in India, to be pronounced as yoga. There is no such word as yoga in India, in Sanskrit, in Hindi. It means nothing. But unfortunately, that has been perpetrated over hundreds of years, and especially in the last few years, the Sanskrit language has all but disappeared in its essence, in its glory. And only the few who have chosen to remain true to it by chanting it, pronouncing it correctly, are able to carry it forward. And they are the ones who are the true gatekeepers of this treasure of wisdom that has been handed down to us for thousands of years in the form of mantra japa, mantra yoga. I will conclude this by reciting my daily medley of mantras, which is part of my daily spiritual practice. Om Namah Shivaya Namoham. Dakshinamurtai Durbhyam Vatavriksha Nivasini Janai Kanirtangaya Namo Rudraya Shambhavi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganpataye Namaha. Om Vakrakunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvidnyam Kuru Medeva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Om Namah Shivaya Namoham. Om Namah Shivaya Namoham. Om Namah Shivaya Namoham. Om Namah Amitabha. Om Namah Amitabha. Om Namah Amitabha. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadhyaya Namostute. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Bhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Jum Saha Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukmiva Bandhanat Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat. Om Jum Saha. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Davinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyat Dukhabhad Bhavet. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvina Vadetamastu Ma Vidhishavahe. Om Purnam Adha Purnam Midam Purnat Purnam Achudyate Purnasya Purnatadaya पूर्णमेव शिष्यते। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण समस्तिसा नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण समस्तिसा नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण समस्तिसा नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण समस्तिसा नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवामी सहितं नमामि। ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुर्कृपा। ओंकारं बिन्दुसंयुक्तं नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमोऽहम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमोऽहम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमोऽहम्।